Time to break some wind.
Time to... A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with another Breaking Wind update.
This has been the ghost of Retardica. Oh, wait, that's you.
And I'm Dr. Mumbles McFlurry Undertone Breath the Turd. I have the long name and the squeaky voice.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I appreciate your patience. My communication was lacking, and the shit show was more than I had bargained for.
Yeah, well, I was stuck working longer than I wanted to anyhow, so.
It sounds like we were in the same boat.
Yeah.
Did your boat have a whole bunch of shit and retarded people in it?
Yeah, kind of. It was about, I was kind of like my own worst enemy today. I don't know. I was a little fucked up today.
Oh,
I fell in the parking lot in this deli. Like, me and the guy I'm working with, we drive over to the deli. Well, he's got to grab his breakfast,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't eat nothing, so
Ain't
I'm
nothing
good.
to eat.
I'm just good with water for at least the first 8-10 hours out of the day. so I'm just outside, smoking a roach that I had.
Yeah.
I went up onto the sidewalk to throw something in the garbage. I stepped off the curb all fucked up and I fell.
Oh, no.
I was expecting somebody to yell ha ha or something.
Did you hurt yourself?
Well, yeah. Oh, my ankle still hurts, but I laughed. It was just, I thought it was funny more than anything at the time.
Yeah. How do you feel now? Is it funnier?
Yeah, I think it was. I'm looking at it from the point of view from another, a bystander in the parking lot, sitting in the car watching some idiot fucking trip over himself.
That sounds like a good moment.
I had a little Exxon Valdez oil spill, so a little bit of a fucking oil bath.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was just more work to fucking clean up after all that shit. So,
oh boy. Well, you had the wobbles today.
yeah.
Well, lucky for us, we've done enough research that we know we can blame the Jews.
Yes.
Welcome to Breaking Wind Dialogue Show. This with Mumbles and Retardica. We tell you how to live your life. Are you ready to inform the public about what are we doing? We're not in the double digits yet. This is gonna be the 9th. I love counting these things. Yeah. It feels like progress with minimal effort.
Well, I don't know. I mean, numbers was one of the things I wanted to touch base on today. But
yeah, you're master of the numbers, measuring out your canvases, and I enjoyed the video explaining the measurements and the the paint rollers and
my cloning 101.
Yeah.
Well, it's just I think anybody can figure that out. You know, any 2-digit number, times 101 is basically, you know, having that 2-digit that 2-digit multiplier, just like replicating itself. You know.
Well, yeah, anybody can do that, but they can't lay down a big honking canvas on the floor and roll it around with, whatever tools may happen to be at their disposal.
Yeah.
Something's happening, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't know what's happening, but something's happening.
Well, I think these numbers that we take for granted and use every day in a certain way. Um, I think it's entirely wrong.
Entirely wrong.
Yeah, I think the
I
system we were taught is not, yeah, I guess it works out on itself, but I think there's other ways to count than in the sequence that we do.
I would agree with that. I've seen that numbers are valuable in the material world for measuring things out. And I've seen that numbers are valuable in the conceptual world for deception and hiding and avoiding a good ass kicking. And I've often thought, what is there besides a 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3, 4? Numbers. It's a language, yeah. It's a language
Yeah.
of
Well, even math math is not just numbers. You could have a algebraic expression written in words. Or you could write an equation in words without using a numerical digit at all.
That's a great point. It sort of is an efficient way to break down concepts into smaller variables to represent. Oh, even just if you take energy and you make it the letter E, or X plus Y equals Z, you can compact ideas into those spaces. So I guess there's no end to that, and that's why those uh, those equations can visually be so daunting, but they require a bit of imagination and concentration. And I guess it's all in how you use it, yeah. So if
Yeah, absolutely.
just like anything, language, everything seems to be how you as an individual apply it. What happens between your imagination and then comes out your physical body, or vocalizes and reinterprets in somebody's head.
Yeah,
That's not really mathematical so much, but I guess anything can be quantified. And I think that's where we're stuck. We're kind of in this math numbers seem a
yeah,
handed way of dealing with the inarticulable beauty of life,
yeah, yeah.
or
Um,
fucking whatever. What do you think? If there's an alternative to numbers,
well, I think
expand on that.
like for instance, like the sentence red and yellow make orange is the same as 1 plus 1 equals 1, essentially, or unless you're going to assign a number to those colors,
Yeah,
or it's 1 plus 1 equals uh, some sort of self-contradicting. You know, you can't have two states. So you could either be singular, plural, or singular and plural. So
yeah.
three different states that are there. So,
Well, that certainly shows up in a lot of ways in the mythological culture, doesn't it?
well,
The
yeah,
one, two, three. I hear you. But yeah, it's
well,
like
they're
Smurf. It's like
kind
Smurf language almost. Like
of.
taking the Smurf to the Smurf to get Smurfy.
Well, yeah, and then there's you got to look at the words that we have in our language that can be recognized the same way in both the singular form and a plural form. And I have a few examples written down. The first one is sheep. The
Sheep,
sec the second one is fish, and
fish.
the third one is deer. Um, you
Oh
know,
my.
the almighty dollar. So you got the sheep, and you have the fish, and you have the almighty buck, basically.
Oh dear.
And I think that's kind of the one plus one equals three, and that's kind of what the Holy Trinity is about.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. The
Yeah.
whole. And that reminds me, when I was reading the Tao Te Ching more seriously, I've got a audio version that doesn't irritate me. It's a good translation. It says, "First there was one, and the one begot two, and the two begot three, and the three begot the 10."
Yeah. Hello. Did
On
we?
that? Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Did
Are
I
you
lose you?
back?
I'm
So
back.
yeah, the one became the two, and the two became the yeah.
And then
Continue.
I'm totally misquoting it, but the
Yeah.
idea that then the three begot the 10,000 things, and the 10,000 things just being all the things that manifest into the material world once you get past the Holy Trinity.
Mm.
Yeah, everything's everything's fine until you define it as one, because once you have one, there's an inside and an outside, right? And then that kind of becomes two, and once you get two motherfuckers together, nothing good happens.
Yeah, and yeah, you always have to account for yourself. So that's always a tolerance of plus or minus one. So
Yeah, I would not like to take this math class.
well, yeah, I think our numbers are out of order. Like
Out of order.
maybe even the two might not even be a two. The two is just a three in disguise, or I'm I'm playing around with the BC, for the you know 2-3 basically, like before Christ. So B4 is like
Oh boy.
2-4, or two is D. So I'm just trying to rearrange all of these things. There's just a lot of interchangeability within all of the characters that we seem to be using, like
Yes.
uh, the use of a U or a V in place of a U seems to be readily acceptable, and still recognized. When you have a V
Mm.
in the place U, you still recognize it as a U, and you know you don't really bat an eye, really. So
Mm. Well, uh, I had a thought and now it's gone.
well, that
Did
was getting to the bacon, egg, and cheese. The BEC, the B equals the C.
well, oh, I well, I
jerk off, all the jerk offs getting their bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, where it's basically flesh on top of menstruation,
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of fucking, on top of ejaculate, and fucking, whatever. It's in the fucking
Oh
teas,
God.
it's like the trinity of
Oh
fucking
God.
fluids. It's all
Oh.
so
Oh, you're
gross.
right. And that's the way to start your day in New York City
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. That and a fucking boiling hot cup of coffee with
Yeah.
the sugar fucking mixed in, so your body digests the sugar,
Oh
and
my God.
it, that's about that fucking little toxic uh, combination, because your body's going to digest the sugar first.
Yeah. And then you got to pour some dairy in there to get it the way you like.
To wash it down with a Nesquik.
But if you're watching your weight, you can put some aspartame in there to really dissolve away any guilt that you may be carrying around in your waistline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
why.
it,
What's the deli? That's why I don't go inside the deli. I just smoke
oh,
outside the deli.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense why a man would stay outside and start to stumble all over himself. This is a lot of weight to carry in one's mind.
Yeah,
Other people don't have to do this type of calculation. You described something in one of the earlier episodes about making a cartoon flip book where
yeah.
you draw static images on a 100-page flip book.
Cognitive function. Yeah,
And it seems to be that our I don't know if I would call it attention or concentration, but our ability to run through more frames per second really makes things drag.
yeah.
If
Absolutely.
it's horrible.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how it happens. Like I was kind of thinking about this earlier. The past few weeks, because I was learning about the how the neurons fire in your brain, and it's typically happens at a rate of 40 hertz, um,
Okay.
and the field that I'm in, the electrical power generation field, I'm constantly submersed in that 60 hertz, 1800 RPM cycle when you have this stationary generator set running. So I think
Okay.
I think just that that frequency is there. Obviously,
Mm,
it's everywhere. So that vibration, I think. I don't know. Maybe it stimulates the processing where you're firing a little more rapidly. You know, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It gets
Like a
hairy. It gets hairy when you try to
like a
take.
monkey see, monkey do. Like if or like how they say you're no better than your two best friends. So like
Mm,
whatever you're always submersed in, or your environment that affects you. So
yeah,
I
it's
don't know if that
pretty
if,
undeniable.
yeah, I don't know if that's how I got that ability to perceive time as moving a lot slower than.
It may be that we accidentally weaponized ourselves against ourselves, like used our some aspect of our imagination. When your brain can get away from you if you ever gone through spells of worrying or dissecting a situation where you wish you'd handled the situation differently and you rerun the script in your mind on what you should have said to that motherfucker or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
your imagination will get away from you and actually start to work kind of work against your best interest. And I wonder if sort of getting lost in the it's like getting lost in a fractalization of whatever you're looking at there. uh, you know I can feel when it's happening. I did it the other day. I was eating a bowl of fruit salad,
Mm.
which is sort of my habit, an old school treat from my childhood. One of the only positive things that I could pull out from my past.
The one with those little like half diced cherries that are like
No.
neon red.
This this one is this is ye old fashioned recipe of just a single banana, a single orange, and an apple, and just chop them up, throw them in a bowl, and enjoy. And
Yeah.
uh, my brain, speaking of Holy Trinity, so I had the Holy Trinity of the banana, the apple, and the orange. And
Yeah.
my spoon wasn't quite big enough, and um, it wasn't that small, and it wasn't that big. But I had sliced the pieces in a way that I would get these awkward combinations of too much banana and not enough apple. Uh, then I would get the perfect scoop where there would be three pieces of orange and then one slice of banana and one apple.
Yeah.
And then the three pieces of orange would fall off. And as the spoon reached my mouth, I had to decide whether to abort mission or continue to move the spoon into my mouth. And these calculations just kept going
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
every bite.
I know exactly what you mean.
And since I had failed with the last bite, but I was so close to achieving success, I dove into the next scoop of my bowl with a whole kind
Yeah.
of focused attention.
And now, like
Um,
nanoseconds have only passed in Muggle time.
and that's and the image of your face started you know rattling around in my, and it was like you describing the pages of the flip book, and I said, "Oh Christ, I'm stuck in the flip book," and I'm like, "Who did this to me?" And it's just me, and I was thinking, uh, you know, when you're in a position like I am, you're juggling different jobs at different times, and nothing is particularly uh, predictable or stable. But I'm not in a state of fear, but I said, my God, just putting fruit on a spoon and putting it in my mouth is more effort, is so much effort. Like, how could I ever be productive on a job site ever again? I can't even perform the most basic routine tasks. And
Yeah.
usually when that happens, I'll text you and say, "Hey, you want to break some wind?"
Yeah.
Because I know there's somebody out there
Yeah.
who probably has like a fruit spoon deficiency disorder as well.
Oh yeah, I think I got I got like 1,000 pistons firing all the time. It's just
Oh yeah, man.
it's hard to
It's
like focus on any given one thing at a time. But that's why I find myself uh, smoking or vaping.
yeah,
It seems to help, with focus as well. So
yeah. I was never really that lucky. I'd always get what I liked is I would become my double vision would calm down, which is interesting. There's some muscle in my eye that would relax, and I would have more acute vision. It seemed, and all the squirrels in the attic would just kind of calm down for a
yeah.
nap, and my my thoughts rarely ever drifted towards the negative, and I was able to resist the temptation to reenact things that had happened prior in the day. I don't do that anymore. But then I would get a hankering for the texture of something to chew on.
Ice
I
cream,
Oh man, fucking
fruits.
whatever. Now I think I can handle that damned fruit salad dilemma. And before you know it, I'm like, I
You can
never thought about it, but you
you can
can
tackle the you can tackle the fruit salad with confidence.
with confidence. I can move on. I used to think a lot of my distraction was because something in my diet, caffeine sort of snuck into my daily routine. I never drank with well, I used to drink with the sugar and the milk, but then I just started drinking black for the pure simplicity, and it's just easier to get in and out of places if I just ordered a black
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah,
Um, which surprisingly, things have become so uh, retardedly twisted with the language and behavior and expectations of people in the culture. They don't even understand what a black coffee is
yeah.
anymore.
You want milk? Yeah,
And you still have to explain that you don't want milk in it. And you
yeah.
also, there's another level of explaining, do you want room in your coffee? Because you may want a black coffee with room, meaning some room to put milk in it.
Well, like
And,
room to put your own creamer in your that you have in your purse. Take the cream.
or,
Yeah, you ever see them like bag ladies like just fucking like a beach tote like going by like a fucking million things.
I'm almost at that stage. I'm
Yeah,
almost at bringing my own salad dressing.
yeah. I carry a backpack. It's
Oh, I can't fucking do it anymore. So I resolved that problem by just not going out. But as it
yeah.
turns
That's
out,
easy.
for the first time in a long time, I've not had any of caffeinated beverages at all. I was gonna maybe say, oh, I'll drink some tea to wean myself all off. And I know you told me you're not a long time coffee drinker, but
Oh,
I've
I don't. I've never drank. Like I've drank coffee. Like I've tasted it.
sure
I could
I've
probably.
tasted a lot of it.
Well, I mean, like I maybe a dozen times at like a
That's amazing,
dozen
especially
cup of
being in the city.
not even. I probably had like 6 cups of coffee in my life.
That's that's amazing.
That's like the only thing I've never gotten addicted to.
It was sort of my replacement for all my other addictions, and I don't know how good that was for me. But
Yeah.
the yeah, it turns out that with or without caffeine, I'm still pretty much a functional idiot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I can't articulate thoughts or string a sentence together that's worth a shit.
Well, what's your THC levels like?
My THC levels,
Yeah.
well, it got to a point where my banana, apple, and orange levels would eclipse by far my THC levels, and I
Yeah.
just turned into some sort of, burying my emotions under what the coneheads would call mass quantities.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I would just eat and eat and eat. So I was obviously tapping into some emotional thing or
hmm.
another. Just like when I would drink, I wasn't like a binge drinker, but once I would start, I just keep going because if it's good, it must be better if you get more. And then, of
Yeah.
course, alcohol just makes you more thirsty. So the trick is,
Hmm.
I mean, who's going to fucking get more water? You're going to get another beer.
Yeah.
And I always like the tactile action of drinking, and it just became
Yeah.
more of a motor memory thing. And well, point is like my behavior is pretty similar to no matter what is going in there, and the THC either give me the munchies to a point that it was really affecting my, like, the food would affect my life more than the THC. So it was like THC
Yeah.
would make me calm and kind of chill my vision out. And also it's not inexpensive
No.
and not
No.
readily available. And the people that tend to um, procure said THC are not my favorite people to interact with. Uh,
Well, I could procure some. I'll bring you some of the New York State medicinal cannabis oil that I get. It's like, it's
I-
just like pure THC. It's like expeller pressed cannabis oil.
oh, the oil.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the oil. Now, with the oil,
Vaporize.
do you have
Vaporize.
you vaporize it? Can you rub it on your skin with the carrier oil
Oh yeah.
to get it
Like
in your system?
you put it direct on you, but you're not gonna get high through your skin.
Oh, that's what I was asking, I guess. I mean, I know technically
Well,
I can rub
I guess
anything
like
on
if
my skin.
I don't know. I think you might because like with the like if I put the oil in my mouth, I'll feel it.
Yeah, but it's not the same as if you put it in the vapor, the volcano,
No, no, like the e-cigarette type thing, that thing.
the the multicolored gem stick.
Yeah, or you could dab it too, with like the dab rig.
Yeah,
It
I
seems to
get.
like, it seems to like help me a lot when I have higher dosages of just pure THC. That the CBD, I think, is what gives you the munchies and slows you down and shit.
Could be. For me, it's just easier. Just don't even show up at school. I don't think I have what it takes to
Well,
even, you
yeah,
know, I
I think you could benefit. You'd probably benefit a great deal from like a good mushroom trip or a DMT trip.
oh, well, the mushrooms, those used to be on the menu, annually. I would do an annual after the mushroom routine, and I
Yeah,
never came out of those sessions with something not spectacular that would
yeah,
serve me for the next 4 months. I don't
yeah,
know why. I don't know why it's 4 months, but I can think of a very specific experience that I had. I had, uh, which is nothing fantastic to really illustrate, but what I came away with it was how to rearrange the furniture in my house to create a workflow so that I could both do my art and
everything to
and
which left.
and slowly back away from the marriage that I was in
Oh
and
yeah,
success,
yeah,
because the mushroom had informed me that everything that was negative was on that side of the house, and all I needed to do was move the things that uh, made me comfortable into the back room, which was used
yeah.
for storage, and turn it into a studio slash bedroom,
Right.
so that you could avoid whatever negative energy uh, was coming at you.
That's what they
Uh,
call plant tuition.
yeah,
Intuition that you get from a plant.
and well, those mushrooms were smarter than I was, and I was able to kind of create an escape plan without creating too much violent uh, aftermath. It
Mm,
was, yeah, I'll tell you, man. Sometimes that shit, just life in general, talking about the just the mundane worldly mechanics of using your meat suit to get from point A to point B,
yeah,
is really, there's so many things that are right in front of your face, and there is some conceptual reality running in the background that that absolutely blocks out the most obvious uh, resolutions or actions that you can take to eliminate whatever the problem is. And then the fear just kind of kicks you back into overeating for me, probably.
mm.
that became something about eating is where I would lose my emotions. So anyway, I guess the CBD and whatever skunk leaf I was getting, feed myself to death.
Mhm.
Uh, but
Yeah.
I saw you made a sculpture,
Oh
a
yeah.
very expensive sculpture on it. Is that related to your oil refinery business?
Well, that's the. I mean, it's not my business, but
Well, I mean,
yeah, that's the.
that's
Those
the
are the
stuff,
containers.
as
Those
they
are the
say.
containers that the vial comes in. Yeah.
I want to talk about art because you remind me a lot of times through your videos or when we chit chat about art really is seeing what comes out of the canvas. Or I like to think of it as a dialogue with yourself, reflection. Like, what do you see come out of it? And then your last painting clone 101 video. Uh, I seem to recall that there was. Well, here is something I took away from it.
Yes.
Where you would, I always I always thoroughly enjoy watching you put something together because while we share the same value, your methods are quite unsound, and it's so enjoyable to watch watch you make decisions that I'm not capable of making. And
Yeah.
you had well over a half dozen of paint rollers and and absolutely no call that paint
No.
sheath.
Oh,
What do you?
roller head. Yeah.
Yeah, the roller, and that turned into uh, actually finding a small roller that was related to some bum project that you had started for your deck. Some
Yeah.
sealant. It had a bad name. What was it, like Resolve? What was it, like Resolve or something like that?
Rust-Oleum,
Restore.
yeah, restore, yeah.
And it looked like a and but as you would go, the point is you're going through that process. It's hilarious to watch, and your commentary is always top notch. And you said, "Oh, I got these buckets." I was like, "My God, 100 bucks a pop, and you got 7 of them? Christ Almighty!" And
Yeah.
it didn't work. And I just know when you do one of those projects and the fucking thing is flaking up, and then you look at it and it's you want to put the paint on there, but then the dryness that's required in the wood is an impossible feat to achieve in order to apply this
Yeah.
fucking thing that's
The-
on the face called Restore.
well, these things are all like tested in laboratories. That's why they fucking hold up so good in their testing.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah, because they have a vacuum
they,
a vacuum
yeah,
environment,
controlled environment.
a
I mean,
completely unrealistic, hermetically sealed environment. So I
yeah,
guess,
so,
but it was something, that whole process, that roller. When I looked at that little tiny Restore roller that came with the Restore paint, I'm like, oh, good gravy! That's the fucking. It just looks like it feels terrible. It looks like it's not gonna absorb or spread the paint. It's just like put pushing a nail file back and forth, like
yeah,
you
it
know.
doesn't do it.
I go,
It doesn't do fucking anything.
and I'm just sitting in my rocking chair, just cringing, like, oh Christ, you know,
Yeah,
put more Restore on there, just put the. But the whole process was like, uh, I could see, like, oh yeah, that's actually brilliant. Now you have like 7 5-gallon buckets of fucking Restore that's perfect primer.
Yeah.
Unless it's too, I can't imagine it's too glossy. It's probably
Oh no,
designed to be
it's like it'll be like a thick like coating, It's like a really
too thick.
it's got like the texture stuff in there,
Oh, like popcorn ceiling texture.
well, like sand kind of,
Oh
like
God, so that's not
like
the
it's like
shit.
so you get like an anti-skid surface basically when it's all done.
I see. That's well. I guess no
Yeah.
there's no silver lining to that dark cloud.
Well, I mean, I think I could still turn it around where I could
Yeah, you
use it for
always do, my friend.
I'll use it for something constructive, and hopefully,
Well, I,
whatever.
I,
It'll,
I guess
it'll still be taking up space in my basement in just a different form.
well here I guess here's what I'm getting at is in the process of getting that large canvas 12 by what is it 12 by
Uh,
8 you said.
the one that I just did was 101 by 71,
Oh,
which is
101 by 71.
like that's like 6 by 9 almost. But the
Yes,
next one is 9 feet and by 12 feet.
which is
So
also counterintuitive for me is to make bigger and bigger canvases. So it's for me, I love this ride. But the point being, I guess, is that you had this canvas on the floor, you're ready to go. You throw the small bucket of paint on there, and then it occurs to you that you should have got a roller, and it's just watching the whole process. But it's almost as if the process has nothing to do with the canvas and the paint itself. It's you're going through these physical machinations almost like a tribal dance of some kind to manifest the inner workings of the you know whatever it is that's floating around inside your melon.
yeah, well,
And
that's like
you can't see it. You can't see it until you start doing something. You can't see
yeah,
it until you start creating something. And when you create it, it's not immediately clear what the fuck it is. And you
yeah,
just have to keep
exactly.
hacking away at it. So watching you hack away at it is
Yeah.
great, man.
Yeah, I made a little bit more progress on that since that video. Not a lot, but uh
All
yeah,
you needed to make, I suppose.
I like the painting and just focusing, like I guess like you said, like the that flow, um or that take that channeling
Yeah,
and basically try and put it on a canvas. It's kind of like a self-reflection. It's like
yeah.
like you just like open up a portal in your mind basically by staring into the canvas, and
And I
it's like
think
a wormhole you can bring anywhere really. So
and I
uh,
think that's in intuitively or what we do as human beings, and that is just kind of repressed or oppressed or suppressed and ignored to the point where it kind of atrophies, and then when it starts to express itself in a creative individual's daily life, it that's what I mean is it kind of becomes it's weaponized when you're trying to put three sliced fruits on a spoon and into your mouth because I'm reflecting on myself in that capacity as well, but I'm not doing it to help myself. It's almost been tainted by the influence of I kid, I joke when I rib the Jews, you know, uh but there is a system in play, Malta Yock. Thank you for reminding me of Malta Yock. Uh, you know,
that was one of my old YouTube. Maybe it was my Facebook name. I don't remember.
Well,
It
I guess it doesn't matter anymore.
was one of my handles.
One of your identities.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everybody
it,
was like, "What type of name is that?"
oh yeah, yeah. That's when you know it's time to leave social media
Yeah.
because you can't even get past the first step, which is just
That, oh,
you
that,
know
well,
I'm not
that's
going to put my registered name out there to the public. I'm going to use a different creative name.
yeah,
What?
yeah,
Who? How am I supposed to know who you are if you use funny name?
yeah, yeah. That
Oh
was
God.
like the last straw with Facebook for me. That was quite some time ago, but yeah,
Oh
I had
yeah.
my last like username was like Octo fucking Mott something. I don't even fucking remember.
No
But
friends. No friends for you.
but yeah, some fucking douchebag fucking bot was just like, "Oh, what type of name is that? That's made up." And then, like they fucking whatever, like do the challenge thing and like send it to fucking Facebook.
Oh
They
my God.
they're
You
asking
know,
D with that fucking name on it.
yeah. Yeah, this is relating to the algorithms that, just kind of they have these hair triggers. They're not
Yeah.
hair triggers, but they're just designed to shut down any sort of creativity. I mean,
Well, well,
I
the
mean, check it out.
the vaginal recognition software that they're running failed with my peppers.
Well, well, you know why? Because I think they want the perversion to come through.
Absolutely.
There's a certain blind eye turned towards
Exactly.
perversion and
They turn a
crassness.
blind eye. You couldn't have said it any better than that. They turn a blind eye. And
Yeah,
what happens when you fucking jerk off too much? That you go blind, right?
yeah,
So they
yeah.
want you fucking spilling your semen. They want everybody fucking demoralizing themselves and fucking stuff
Absolutely.
and taking it in the rear and fucking
Yeah.
spilling their special man. This even, or, so that like, there's, I don't know how many fucking jizz moppers there are in the world.
Jizz moppers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
But yeah,
Anything that
they're trying to get that. They want that because that's your sacral, like basically cerebral spinal fluid. So the
sure.
semen is your purified blood that you're trying to raise up through your spinal column to activate your pineal gland. So that's why, yeah, they're turning the blind eye. They don't want you to activate your pineal. So they want you to fucking dump your load on the fucking floor.
Or
And
preferably dump your load in another man's ass and then threaten him with death if he dare disclose the secret of the dirty deed. You know, it's
yeah,
in Malta Yuck, Malta Yuck.
yeah.
There's no. What do you mean there's a method to the madness? It's just because people are bad. You know, that's the explanation. That's why you can't eat a bowl of fruit. It's because you think too much and you're paranoid.
Yeah,
Paranoia is probably quite a healthy response to an environment where you're constantly being attacked and blindsided by an unseen enemy. Uh,
yeah.
but uh, when I was getting acupuncture, my acupuncturist was a third generation.
I love that.
Uh,
I
it's
love
the
that shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good stuff.
one thing I learned from it is I was at that point I was still in the idea in the mind state that there was a disease or something inside of me rather than something was out of harmony with something else. I was studying Chinese medicine, but I went to my acupuncturist
Mm,
and he quickly diagnosed me with a weak right kidney. And
mm-hmm.
that's nothing that had ever occurred to me. And he was a little tight-lipped about getting any kind of explanation out of him because people mostly uh, misunderstand the information, but I was hungry to learn more. And
Yeah.
he said, you know, if you urinate a lot, you masturbate a lot, and uh, this is a depletion of your kidney chi, your chi. And about that same time, I was studying. I think Dover had first started putting the idea in my head about atmospheric electricity, and I'd visited Japan, and I'd noticed, you know, just like in the Godzilla movies, they have that place is just littered with these um, uh, giant towers, you know, with the wires going in between. What do you call those things? Whatever they are, just wow, God damn it, with words, I can't think of it.
Transmission wise. What are you talking about?
Transmission lines, yeah, giant transmission lines, all different, uh, going through the mountains, and it's so obvious why they put them through the mountains, because there must be an enormous amount of some type of material, metal or crystalline veins of something going through those mountains. And but
Yeah.
anyway, I it just struck me because they also handle their cell phone, whatever the cell phone antennas are. They handle them differently in Japan, where they have these white things that they put on top of the buildings around here. It's like white uh, um, boards.
Well, those are like repeaters.
Yeah, the repeaters and the transmitters, and uh, they don't have those in Japan. They have these thin white antenna, and I guess they create the same effect, but the technology is different. But anyway, these transmission lines, I was thinking, oh, this reminds me of acupuncture, because you have these lines that run from your kidney. That goes from the middle of your chest down through the middle of your abdomen, the inside of your thigh, down the inside of your calf, past your inside of your ankle, and under the ball of your foot. These are where the pressure points are. They'll be called like pressure point kidney 1, kidney 2, kidney 3, all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the flow of the energy to that particular organ. And I had asked my acupuncturist, I said, chi sounds to me a lot like electricity running through the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't like that. And
What?
I don't know why. Uh, we agreed on a lot of other things, but he really didn't like the idea of calling chi electricity. And I kind of can grok that
Well,
now.
because electricity is energy that's trapped on a circuit, and so it's energy.
Yeah, I
I
guess
guess
that's
if
a
you
good
use the
point.
word electricity, he might have got that like like mistaken, like where you were implying like the energy coming out of the wall saw or the
Yeah,
electricity
that's probably what it was. Like I
out of
said,
a
he
wall
was
saw.
hesitant to talk to anybody about the details. So he was probably ready ready to knee jerk at, you know, anything that I had to contribute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I but that's a good point. Like electricity trapped on a circuit, the chi would be more of it flows on that circuit, but it's not trapped on that circuit. We're immersed in
Well,
this.
yeah. The chi is flowing, right? And the earth does have its own kundalini serpent as well, and it moves around.
Sure, and you know, this is really noticeable in Japan when they have what's called Hanami, which is the celebration of the cherry blossoms that comes in the spring, and
Yeah.
also in the autumn, the colors of the leaves will change, and it flows through the island. You know, the island of Japan's sort of long and narrow,
Yeah.
and it flows through the island just like a shot, you know, forgive me, but a shot of electricity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And uh people in Japan talking about numbers have really fetishized calendars and numbers, and
Yeah.
they love to chart the progress of the flow of the blooming of the cherry blossoms and the
Yeah.
flow of the colors of the trees. And the higher you go up into the mountains, the the leaves on the at the higher altitudes will start to generate color before those at the lower altitudes. And there's so many. There was, man, at that time there was just so many fascinating overlaps between watching the acupuncturist work on my body, visiting Japan for the first time, seeing how the electrical structure is there, and watching the flow of the energy through the landscape. And then I come back to New York, and I put some menstruation on top of my uh,
Your flesh.
fucking titty milk, and then I put a little flesh in between,
Your titty milk.
and then
Yeah.
I
Do
wonder,
what
but
do they? Do they have like dragon festivals and stuff in Japan? Like, do
that's
you hear that
that's
stuff?
more Chinese.
Yeah.
Japanese have the history with China. They left China for some reason. Kind of, man, the language, Mumbles. You would love studying Japanese language, the
Yeah.
characters and the
I'm
kanji.
I plan to do it
It's
one of these days. We'll get to it.
yeah, it's well, it's not a thankless task, but it's a slog. But
Yeah.
it's once you decode one aspect of the character, you can start to really decipher the the way the culture uh, interacts with the language and how it behaves, and it's
Yeah.
you you can make a clear distinction between how tricky English is. English is always uh, trapping you or slipping and sliding you from one word that sounds like another word, and
Yeah.
we get so used to it that when you have this supposedly uh, older, antiquated language that hasn't changed in such a long time. They have three systems actually, but the kanji has not changed in a long time. Um, it can't. The only way I can describe it is kanji can't lie. Now you can make a sentence and you can lie, but the kanji itself does not lie. It's you were talking about symbology and having a sort of a universal symbolic language. I think maybe the last time we talked. As
Mm,
um, this these characters have a visual aspect to them where the kanji for mountain will look roughly like a mountain, uh, or it's not exact like that, but it's impossible to charge those symbols in a way to weaponize uh, the user, and it's a huge relief, and it comes through in the actions of the people.
right.
However, it's a fucking hard language to learn, and I am stumbling my way through it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of information packed into each character. I'd imagine.
There's a lot of pages in those flip books for sure. Are you able to read as a connoisseur of the herbs? Are you able to read and uh, uh, what is it? Hold on to what you read and digest it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was never able. It would
Yeah. I
go
think that.
in, and I would hit it, and it would go away. I couldn't
Yeah.
maintain.
You
I
gotta.
couldn't
I think
maintain it.
it's like the levels of THC for some people. Like you need a lot higher levels than you know a lot of people are willing to admit. You know.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean everybody's different, I suppose. Yeah, I mean,
same with
I don't
everything.
know. Yeah, I seem to be able to focus focus more, you know, and it just like I don't know. I don't read like normal people read, so it's hard to answer that.
Well, you seem to read like me, whereas you'll get 30 books and get into
Well,
one and get in another and then kind of be able to
no,
tie.
I don't mean in that sense. I mean like most people read, they're saying the words in their head out loud
Yeah.
and one after the other, one
Okay.
one word at a time, one after the other. I take blocks of sentences like at a time, and
I see.
just that's it just absorbs. Like I don't have to. I don't like. It's hard to explain. But
I
I've
do understand.
had software. There's actually training. It's called the IQ, EYEQ,
Clever.
and it was a software based program. So it was basically just to strengthen your eyes and work your periphery. So you
Oh.
have basically more coming in. So like your fiber optic cable is getting bigger.
This is
Basically.
called IQ. Is this something from the
I don't know if the
the
software is still
80s or
out there. No, this was probably like late nine, like maybe 99. Like
oh
right around the time I bought the bitcoins and shit.
man, there's
If I,
another whole
if I
nother
can only
bag of
find
beans.
if I can only find my fucking password.
Which, when I was doing the research on that, what was the guy's name? Antonio Patopoulos or Antopoulos? There was a guy. He would constantly stress the only thing you need to do when you do this is remember your key, your
Yeah,
your password. Keep your
yeah,
password in a place where you're not going to forget and that always that seemed to me like such a daunting thing because I'm like, fuck, I know I'm gonna lose it. I know I'm gonna lose it. Don't get
yeah,
involved. And then I never pulled the trigger on it. And you actually pulled the trigger on some Bitcoin back in the day
yeah.
in the 90s,
No, I don't, it was probably like
2010.
2004, 2005.
Yeah, man,
I was living in a co-op in Bayside, so I think that
part of the
was
problem.
roughly 2003, 2004, something like that. Like right around like when it just started, when it just
Yeah,
came out. It's just a thing. It just became a little thing, and then it was
yeah,
floundering, and then everybody thought it was just going to disappear.
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if it was like dollar for dollar type shit, but I think I remember paying like, I don't know, $1,300 or something for it.
Wow, you must
And
have had quite a sum.
yeah, I don't remember how many Bitcoins it was that I purchased, but I know, the purchase price was about 1,300. I remember that. And then
Wow.
I know I wrote it down on the inside of a folder somewhere, the account. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember the name of the tape, or like those memory tapes, like to help you like try to remember like where you
Yeah,
left
yeah.
it, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like where you kind of like could hypnotize yourself to like into remembering.
Sure,
So
sure.
I'm still like trying that, and my problem is I have so many fucking papers and so many fucking like like I just was for a long time. I would save like everything. Like I was really diligent. I kept
Right,
record
right.
everything, every fucking little legal thing or any little fucking whatever I had. I kept all of those records. So I just had amassed a lot amount of paperwork.
Well,
Like buying properties and all that shit. Like I just, you get a lot of paperwork when you buy fucking shit.
sure, sure. You know,
Uh,
I can see the punchline already. I can see the
yeah.
joke being
I mean,
set up.
threw
And no,
that
no,
all that
listen
shit
is
away. God.
is I know now that in some retarded way, that folder with that number is going to expose itself somehow, and it'll be. I
Words,
know
words.
it's with the words, and I did something where I pulled out a book from the garbage a while ago before you and I started talking, and made a video of divining information from this Leonardo da Vinci book, and
Yeah,
I cut out some pieces of that paper, and
yeah.
I'm going to suggest to you that bef- um, I'm looking at these now. I have a clothespin attached to it, and I saved these words, and these words will somehow be connected to you finding the Bitcoin wallet number
Yeah.
password. So here we go.
Help Mumbles find his Bitcoin.
So please help Mumbles find his Bitcoin. So here are the words that will help you. The word that I circled was grave, Grave. The number that revealed itself to me was the number 185, 185.
Uh-huh.
And now there's some sentences that are related to this. And the sentence is, leave the printing un. ... And which I am given, I beg you. And the last sentence, the sentence itself is unfinished. These are the clues that will lead you to the Bitcoin folder password mystery. You're welcome.
I hope that would be. I'll split it with you if that's the case. If it helps me,
No.
if it helps me find it, yeah.
Grave 185. That's all you got to know. The
Right,
sentence
185 and incomplete sentences.
The sentence itself is unfinished, which seems to embody the problem itself anyway.
Yeah, I've read that. I think I have that in one of my Da Vinci books somewhere. I have all of his notebooks and stuff. Like
Well,
uh,
this was one of those corny art books, that just has all
yeah.
kind of references to icebergs and volcanoes
Mm.
and but the clever
Book, yeah.
clues in there too about illusory effects through lensing, which brings me to the sky. I was walking past a
Yes. Well, I just wanted to let's touch base back and then we could work
oh,
this back.
sure. I'm moving too fast. My legs are on full
Yeah.
tilt.
Your legs are going way too fast. Well, yeah, I was trying to ask about the dragon, like those dragon
Good God,
festivals.
that was
Look,
back in 1990, wasn't it?
we were talking about electricity, or
Yes.
your electricity, and I was trying to just correlate the dragon with the sine wave, and
Yeah.
but yeah, the getting back with the electricity is just being energy trapped on a circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that basically uh, the ground wire is basically like the hot in this type of in this theory, I suppose.
Okay.
If you call it a theory, I mean they don't know which way electricity flows.
Well,
Like
because it flows every which way, doesn't it?
right.
It goes with the flow.
Yeah, it's already everywhere. It's already all already here, right?
Right,
So it's coming from everywhere, but so you basically have all this circuit with the conductors, and energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So, like,
right,
regardless of how you're making power, whether it be a battery or a fake power plant, hydro plant, diesel generator, whatever, you're basically uh, pushing electricity onto a circuit, whether it's through like an induction, like copper and magnetic fields, or
mm-hmm,
magnetic field passing through iron.
mm-hmm,
How is that creating electricity? It's not creating it. It's inducing it. It's pulling it in
right,
and pushing it and trapping it onto the copper conductor. So then
right,
it gets stuck and it wants to find its way back home,
right,
and that's you know
through the ground.
well, anyway it can. The the fastest path back to ground. So anyway it can find its way
Right,
back to ground is how it's gonna, it'll go back to ground.
right,
Um, but our ground circuits are basically, uh, it's basically just completing a circuit. Like the electricity is not really flowing around in these wires. It's all just there, and then
right,
you connect the ground to complete the path, which is basically just making sure your meter's running,
right.
based off of how
So,
much heat your devices consume.
so you can charge motherfuckers.
Right, so you can charge them.
Charge. The word charge.
Like
Interesting.
the battery kind of works the same way. There's no electricity in the battery. There's no,
Right,
it's not like stored energy in there. It's just pulling chemical reaction that's pulling the etheric energy into the circuit.
well, here's one way of visualizing, thinking about it, and I don't know where I picked this up or if I invented it myself, but is when you breathe, one good way to get a good deep breath is not to immediately do a big inhale, but to exhale all your breath. And when you can't exhale anymore, exhale more, exhale more, and exhale more. And then just let go. And the breath seems to fall in to your lungs. And when I do this, it kind of resets my just resets my system a little bit. Like I'll calm down and recalibrate. It won't last very long, but there's sometimes that I can keep that pattern going. Just letting something fall into uh, the electricity. What you're saying is kind of falls in to it, not an emptiness. How do you describe that? It's all around us. The potential for the electricity, like the dielectric magnetism, is all around us. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and what we've been trained to call electricity is this supposed energy that's coming through the wire, but the wire really there's no electricity in the wire. It's the energy
Oh,
around the wire,
yeah.
but that in is of itself is not the energy. It's the collection of the energy around it, and it's pushing like through a it's pulling through a pipe. It's going to the path of least resistance. I guess that's the only way I can kind of articulate it, right? It's constantly flowing back to the source or looking for the source. So it's sort of a pulling action. Yeah?
Well, it's both. It's pushing and pulling at the same time.
Well,
The
pushing would be
conventional.
the amperage. Oh, what is it? Fuck it. I'm out of my league.
You're talking like you have voltage, amperage, and resistance, which would be in ohms. Um, but
And
yeah, I'm what I'm saying is it pushes end poles at the same time, and it's
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
you could it's demonstrable at both levels. Whether you're checking uh, flow from positive to negative or negative to positive, it works both ways. The only thing that changes is whether or not you have a little minus sign in front of the number on the meter or not. But it's
Oh,
still registering
yeah.
the same amplitude or the same voltage. You know,
Wow.
current is still
That's such a subtle thing to think about, but it goes back to what you're saying about numbers. Like you're defining this quantity, and then you're defining the direction of it
yeah
with a plus and a negative, which goes back to the numbers that sort of represent these conceptual ideas. They create the idea of motion and movement, which can be commodified and charged to whoever's buying. When in fact it's all around you, moving all the time, sort of just like an ocean of energy in harmony, and we're connected to that.
yeah it's
And we like the kidney channel that I was talking about through the acupuncture. It's not like a wire where the energy is trapped. It's just like what you're talking about. It's flowing, not in a negative or a positive. It's just flowing through. Is
Yeah,
this what?
well, all of your all like you have chi, you have I guess different people talk about the energy centers in the body, different ways, but yeah, like chi is usually the one that's like associated like with around like the navel area, right? And then like
Interesting. That's that umbilical cord idea too.
yeah, it's just like a representation of one of the chakras, I believe, and it's each one of the chakras basically has like a double funnel,
I see. Like a
like
give
a
and a take.
like a funnel cake inside a funnel cake, and one's pushing out and one's pulling in.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that makes sense.
you know, we could get into the chakras another time, I guess, but.
I guess so. I mean, they are a useful model for understanding these things.
Yeah.
I've stopped using it because it's the language of it has gotten so wrapped up in the obvious neo-socialist agendas, and
Yeah.
I, I I can use them. I can work with them, but I don't use the language of it anymore. I think
Yeah.
more like I've steered towards the focusing on the different personalities of the organs and their relationships. How when one is weak, or one is too, you can have an organ that's too strong that puts pressure on another organ and
Mm.
knocks it out of whack. And there's this circuitry that goes through the body that is really fascinating. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo you got to go through there too, but uh, when you have the eyes to see it, or the flip book pages are full, you can start to
Yeah.
discern these flows,
Yeah.
and
Once you're looking with all three eyes.
yeah, I usually I
Not the chocolate starfish either.
Well, I was trying to tie it in, but I'm sort of losing steam, so I couldn't make a good butthole joke. But you alley ooped it and
Yeah.
dunked it in.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I don't know what were we get. Thought we were talking about. I was trying to tie these dragon ceremonies and the sinusoidal wave propagation that you get with alternating current
yeah.
into what I'm calling a snake sine wave hologram. And
I'm. I
that
can visualize that.
I'm
Yes.
trying to tie in the daylight savings time, which is, basically saving electricity, or that's, which would be preserving the sine wave propagation. And then, like, how does a snake move in the grass? Basically, what propels the snake forward when it's going from A to B?
Hmm.
You can't explain how the snake is moving, but
Right.
it's kind of basically like like the don't tread on me thing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the grass. So I think it's like trying to like tell you like hey, uh, look at me. But uh, so like daylight savings time. One of my favorite allegories for that is like it's the equivalent of cutting like a foot off the bottom of a blanket and sewing it to the top of the blanket and
Sure.
convincing yourself that you have a longer blanket.
Sure.
Or if you're looking at it, you have your blanket laid out on the floor, you cut a foot off the bottom, you put it on the top, you do that 100 times, it looks like your sheets moving across the floor, right? It looks like you made like it's
Yeah.
moving, right?
Sure.
So like kind of like the centipede game, and
All
that and
right.
it's the holographic tracking, like basically the chemtrails,
Yeah.
and
The
then
holographic tracking.
then we get into snakes on a plane. But
Well, well. Let me put my boots on. Uh,
I haven't seen the movie. I got to watch the movie now just because of
oh
this.
fuck! Now we have homework this weekend. God damn it! I thought the bell was gonna ring and we were gonna get out of here without homework. Snakes on a plane. God damn it! This class sucks. Now listen. I want to tie in something about these kanji.
Yeah.
The they're actually Chinese characters, but I'll call them Japanese characters because they borrow the language.
Mm.
The kanji for dragon.
Mm.
Well, let me first explain the anatomy of a kanji. It can be broken up into different different elements called tan tan. Well, fucking there goes that word. There's a, there's a word that describes the uh, the segments of the kanji. So, for example, one kanji will have a similar shape to another kanji in one part of it. There'll be like a little V shape that's a common
Mhm.
characteristic. Like a F and a E look similar. The letter
Mhm.
F and the letter E, they have those straight lines that go across.
Oh. Yeah, they
Uh,
label all those parts. Yeah.
right. And so in kanji, there's quite a few of these, but there's some that are more obvious than others. So when I was first studying the atmospheric electricity, I was also studying Japanese language, and I was curious. I looked up dragon and I looked up electricity because I noticed in the architecture in the temples in Japan, on the roof of the temples was the dragon running running in these particular patterns that represented these sinusoidal waves. And, well, the character of the kanji for dragon shares the same, I don't know what to call it, part, the same segment as electricity. And the kanji for electricity and dragon share the same part as the kanji for cloud. And weather shared the same part and another part with electricity and dragon. So weather and electricity and dragon and cloud. And this, you could follow this trail. Now there's
you can learn a lot that way.
And that's what I mean by kanji doesn't lie. But I pointed this out to my Japanese friends, and they'd never considered it or gave a shit what I was talking about because they hadn't been sucked into the fucking Aaron Dover wormhole military mind experiment. And they didn't have a foundational understanding of the ether.
Yeah, it's like in Indonesian, like isn't there a word for water, air, or something?
Something like that, and the same thing with the kanji. So not only do they physically do the symbols physically represent the the image is like a mountain. The kanji for mountain looks like a mountain, or the kanji for water has a little drips of water symbols in there and things like that. It's not just that, but also the concepts that they embody are woven through. So electricity. I mean, these are things that even a meteorologist wouldn't admit to you, that clouds have electricity in them, you know, or electric potential or things like this. And going back to the dragon, and something that happened to me as I walked past an Asian massage Jack Shack today, there wasそうですね。気持ちいいね。I right next door was a tarot card reader, or I guess a psychic, and they had large tarot cards in the window, blown up, and the one that was in front of me caught my eye because it had a rainbow on it, and I think it was the Ten of Cups, and the image on that tarot card is 10 cups in a rainbow on a flat horizon looking up at the sky. The cups are in the rainbow, and what you described with the double funnel in the chakras, both going in and out at the same time. These cups were shaped like that, like what you use to measure alcohol, like a bartender. I guess you call them a jigger or a jig.
Yeah, the jigger, like it's like a hour.
It's like at that hourglass shape, but what we now call a double funnel. And the so there was 10 double funnels in the rainbow going to the sky, and below was I think a man and a woman and a child and something, whatever. Wow. I used to really get into the tarot until I got spooked, and then I shredded them. And they have a nasty little sense of humor.
Yeah, you seem to get like appalled very easily about this stuff, but
because I've had some bizarre experiences with it, and
you see Holocaust in a book, you throw the book away.
Well, that's a little more animated visualization.
Well, you know,
because of course that's not true. It's just me talking. It's me talking. But
I know what you mean. It's you get kind of like fucking like a distaste for it overall. Like,
well, and also bizarre things start to happen, because just like the art where you put something on the canvas and something comes out to you, there's a participation there. And when I paint or draw or eat fruit salad, there's I'm opting into something that doesn't isn't necessarily generating a spooky effect. There's something that feels good about it. And I come from a background. I tattooed for many years and found I made I made friends with quite a few interesting people. And in that line of work, you tend to run into some people who get deep into the occult, and a lot of the imagery comes from the occult. And I was mentored by a gentleman who had a rich history and some interesting things, and put me on the my library built up in an interesting way. Like, these books were peculiar,
Yeah.
and you are led into them, and they start to whatever that relationship is with you looking at yourself. Which is this is going to tie into the tarot card thing too, and the Ten of Cups and the double funnel rainbow, and and your snake your snake hologram, sinusoidal snake hologram.
Well, that's snake sine wave. Yeah, snake
Yeah, the
sine wave.
snake
Oh, yeah.
snake sine wave hologram.
The
And the
centipede hologram, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, well, we'll come up with some catchy names and buy the domains.
Yeah.
But these books lead you, well, not just the books, but there's a the language, the numbers and the language start to become smarter than you are, and you can be led and misled in ways that it just becomes spooky, where I'm not sure what part of me is. um there's a there's a there's a sense of humor, sort of a what do you call it when something's a little devious? It has a it has a sense of humor to it, where it's not nice. And
Uh,
so that's most obvious in a lot of the really deep, I guess, a lot of people call themselves magicians.
yeah.
The ones who are really into it, and they really get deep into the language and the mathematics and the charts and the symbology and the charging of sigils and things like this, there really is something there. Like, if we were to focus long enough on whatever it is that we're talking about and really concentrate it, it would take on a life or an energy of its own, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of someone opting into it and decoding it, and sort of embracing it, which is sort of the danger of, maybe not the danger, but it's good to be trepidatious in the environment where Malta Yock and so many of these symbols are integrated into our daily.
Yeah. That's
What kind of effect they have on you, because they do. So I do knee jerk a little bit by, uh, I'll discontinue something if I feel like it's taking advantage of my naivete, and because I'm not attracted of the idea of gaining power, and curiosity has killed many cats. And pussy juice is hard to come by nowadays.
yeah. Well, it's I think like it's kind of like I don't know. It's a lot of spell casting, I think, and what to me, what I'm trying to consider spell casting is like playing with language, and like that's why I'm fascinated with anagrams and things like
Sure.
that. And that to me, I think is what they mean by casting spells, and just like like a lot of this stuff is imagination driven, and then once your mind is working, your mind will make manifest.
Well, I think those are well, whatever, healthy reflections of yourself. You can garner a lot of wisdom by doing that. Just like painting, just any sort of creation, any kind of creative thing that you're doing. You're feeding, just throwing, vegetables to your animals, things like that. The
Yeah.
creative process is there's no bounds to it. You don't have to be a painter or a musician.
Right.
So uh, playing with words is can be informative, and
Yeah.
but I just like from where I'm coming from and my experiences, I'm a bit more. I steer more clear of languages and numbers that have been given to me. I've had a lot of fun doing that, and I've gleaned a lot. Um, but I don't know what I'm doing past a certain point. So
Well,
I
I,
steer clear of it, and then I go back to just doing the art or being in nature or focusing on like my interactions with people, things that don't require necessarily a written language or
yeah.
symbology or stuff like that. So
Yeah,
a
I
lot
got
a lot of the Freemasonry imagery that's become so popular and sort of glossed over and logos that you wear on your clothes. Like one of the
yeah.
things that I've changed in my life is I take the logos off my clothes if it's an option. I'm not methodical about it, like
Right.
Mel
Wow.
Gibson and conspiracy theory or something.
Yeah.
But these things have an effect, just like your energy has an effect on the atmosphere around you.
Yeah.
While I don't think these big billowing clouds that are coming out of the Con Edison power generation plant are coming directly from my uh, influence,
No.
the things that the actual mechanism of whatever.
Hello, hello. Retardica disappeared. Uh, Retardica has left the building. Cindy's still in there. Can you hear me? So yeah, spell casting. I do my spell casting mostly for amusement, just to spark some more creative uh, processes. I
No,
hello.
I'm not. I
Yeah. Hmm. Every time. So yeah, it's you there?
You hear me?
Yeah. Did you what did you
I
I was saying because you kind of cut out, so I just started talking about what I want to talk about.
I I listen to this podcast every week. It's very good. I I heard some of what you were getting into. You using using the anagrams and playing with the language and the numbers as sort of exercise, something to that effect.
Well, like for amuse, you know.
Amusement, sure,
Yeah. Well, like yeah, to give me like something to like play off of, or you know.
sure. It
And
gives
I
you a
think
great
that's
starting point too.
a lot of it is a lot of this is I don't know. Somebody once told me that if you wanted to live forever, get your name in print. You know, so it's basically like something like we are the pink living through ink, and you know all of these things that are written down. You know, like how legal code, it's all written down. It's just like a shuffle of, you know, it's all fabricated like they put this construct around us. So like they built this hmm, like a network of words, and
Sure.
it's like a web,
It's a
and
program. It's like a computer program.
yeah,
It's a programming language.
we're
We're
limited, we're limited to the amount of letters, like with our language or the English language, where it's very limited. So we only have so many different words that we really make. So like like it's just like to me how to like people create characters and create stories, and I was trying to get back into like the expressing math formulas in words,
right.
and another instance of that is I don't know, like style and substance. You could have style and substance, or you could have just style or substance. So
Hmm.
have three things. Ideally you want them to both be working together. So
Sure. And I think one of the ways of learning how to do that is to just play, and just exactly what you do or what I do with the anagrams or the numbers and rearranging them. And it's a great exercise, a jump off point to learn the mechanics of how to build more complicated ideas. Hello?
yeah, yeah, my thing turned off for some reason.
Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Probably because I'm so fucking boring, but the idea of playing with the words and the numbers, the gematria and the rhymes and the rearranging and turning the H into a four or the
Yeah,
three into an E. These things I think are great exercises for figuring out the mechanics of how to build more complicated or more interesting uh, characters or
yeah, like
stories.
yeah,
It's outside of the the computer program, the programming language that we've been born into. Once you realize you're born into it, that I mean, those are the only tools that you have to kind of work your way out. And the way you work your way out is by building a more defined. If you don't like the narrative that's provided to you,
yeah,
and you don't fall into the traps of
yeah,
the dead end narratives and the the Pied Pipers,
right,
you're free to build your own narrative. But
yeah,
if you lack the knowledge of how to do that,
yeah.
it's easy just to give up. Just fuck it. Just get back just go back to space.
That goes into the spin doctors, and the time being 4:30. That's alluding to the 11/11 phenomena. But
Yeah.
like yeah, like that's kind of like what like yeah, you don't like the narrative, so like you take the headline of the newspaper and you look at it, you play with the anagrams, you spin some letters around, and you turn it into what you want and make your own fucking story.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's basically what it is.
Right.
And you know, have at it. And it's fun. So
Yeah.
it's attractive for it's an easy way for sort of the layman to get into it. And then if you stay with it long enough, you can really actually start to scrape at the walls of reality.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's good exercise.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
but
think I really made the point that I was trying to make, but
your your
you
point
got the
being,
gist. I don't know what my point was. I'm still trying to like formulate like the right language to
for
like
the numbers,
like the
the
whole
missing
thing,
numbers and the missing
like
letters.
the whole like existence being in literature, like all these things really just exist in books and Malta Yoke. It's all just bullshit. That's in books.
I think that's the point you're catching me at, is that all I can say is multi yoke, because I don't have anything to do but kind of scream scream at the sky and complain about the invisible enemies. I haven't
Yeah,
developed any.
who's they?
Yeah, I mean, there's no they. We talked about who's at the wheel. If you create a business and you have one worker, right? One worker to answer the phones and handle deliveries. And then you get a little bigger and you create a delivery department and human resources, but you're still the boss, but people don't see you as much.
Mhm.
And then you build a bigger company and you start to get all kinds of bureaucracy, and you have meetings, you have to go out of town and this sort of stuff. Your staff starts to see you less and less. It gets to a point where the size is so large that you could actually just leave the not only the building, but you could actually leave the entire business and have
Yeah,
no and be missing in action, and the system would go on just as you left it. In fact, probably worse,
right.
because it wouldn't have a daily interaction to tighten things up and that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
is someone
wonder.
behind the wheel, or it just runs itself? And language is a useful numbers and language are a useful way to get out of this pre-programmed narrative that's always it's always uh hurrying you to jack off your chi and have you throwing your
Yeah,
money away and drinking your money away and uh,
yeah,
having shitty relationships and things like this.
yeah,
But goddamn, if it's not a lot of effort. But
yeah,
we quote unquote make light, laughing about it and joking
yeah,
around, like watching you fumble around in your basement with your
yeah.
with all
I'm
the things
just
at your disposal is so inspiring for me. It's not just entertaining. I'm getting something out of it too.
just a
Uh,
dolphin making a star,
yeah, man. You're a donkey making a star,
playing in the water.
and it's just, and it's I have the confidence when I look at it to tell you, hey, that's getting somewhere. I don't know
Yeah.
where, but it's getting
So
somewhere.
that canvas, the one I started on that 101 cloning video, that one,
Mm-hmm.
that with that gray primer. So that
Yep.
one, that's the one I'm entitling that. The pink and the ink. Uh,
Pink
so
and
it's
ink.
basically like, yeah, like the pink, like the flesh, like we're the pig, and we're playing in the mud, which is our ink, the ink. So it's going to be like some
Oh,
pigs like dancing in mud, but the mud is basically like pools of ink. So like it started,
I love that.
and like the gray is basically going to be like like the gray, the gooey, the brain matter,
Sure. The
that we're
the
submerged in.
the all powerful nothingness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I'm going to try to make it like a trichromatic. Is that a word? Trichromatic, like just like a stick with like the three colors, the pink, the gray, and I got green for the ground.
Pistachio.
Yeah, the pistachio, the pink, and that gray. I'm gonna try and stick with those like three colors.
Mark Pistachio.
Pis- Pistachio. Pistachio. Yeah,
Yeah.
pistachio.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah. So
Again,
that
those
yeah,
colors. I never would have chose those colors. That's why I'm glad I met you because now you can do it, and I can
oh,
just watch
shit!
from the.
I already have four colors. Damn. Yeah, because I put green, pink. No, what did I put on there? Green, pink, and gray, right? Oh, I did put some blue. I put some blue for the sky.
You got to do that.
Yeah. So
Well, let
four
me
colors.
let me sum it up with that because that reminds me of. I'm gonna have to go and prepare some vittles.
Yeah, no problem.
And but the sky and the double funnel and that tarot card and the rainbow. And I've read books that I haven't knee jerked and thrown away. Like you're catching me at a moment where I'm just I'm at another level. I've digested a lot of books to a point
Yeah.
where I'm satisfied. Now I'm trying to formulate some sort of I don't know model of what the hell my personal individual life is and what that's capable of, if anything.
Hmm.
And some things I ran across in some books, the idea of a one-way mirror, you can see out or you can see in, depending on the light reflecting uh,
Hmm.
on what side and what angle, and then just using the model, that's flawed in so many ways, but the whoa, fucking, what is it? The flat Earth model, where they call it the AE map, where the sun and the moon go around on the thing, and
Hmm.
a mirror. You hear magicians talk about the black mirror, where you scry and look into the black mirror, and things are revealed to you,
Hmm.
and the daylight and the sun going quote unquote up and down, and the moon going up and down, and the idea of a double funnel and the constellations being a mirror image of themselves in a sort of Mobius strip sort of thing. And you can't, I don't know how to describe that, but a black mirror used
Hmm.
for, or black water is something you can look into when you're doing magic as well. And I think
Yeah.
magic is mostly just what we're talking about, reflecting on yourself. And then whatever that energy is, you can treat it just like you treat electricity. You can trap it. Magic seems to be trapping this chi energy into a capacitor to where you can charge it and discharge it at, it's simple or complicated, uh, in simple or complicated ways based on simple or complicated circuitry, depending on
Right.
your understanding of the language of it, which we have to kind of clunk together on our own
Yeah.
if we want to. I don't know to what end. There's no world to change, but just to have an understanding of the environment you live in, it seems useful. So, uh, your holographic snake model and cutting the blanket from the bottom and putting it on the top, and
Daylight savings.
daylight savings time, which is basically just taking
It's no, well, that's like
nothing.
the stimulated like movement. It's like
It's just a conceptual movement
yeah.
of put a plus here, a minus there.
I think it's like they're trying to induce some sort of like flow one way or another, right?
Sure, in the collective mind, yeah, because it completely interrupts you. It's like hitting the emergent. It's like downshifting, you know, uh, without using the clutch or something. If that makes
Yeah.
any sense, you just get you throw out your tranny
Yeah.
with the
Old-
bathwater,
the old
and
box of rocks transmission.
yeah. So
Just
I think
grind it till you find it.
that I think that's the slogan they put on the holographic snake flag instead of don't tread on me. I think it's grind it till you find it, which is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, it
Because
sounds like a fucking. It sounds like the rattle on a rattlesnake.
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's like a screwdriver
Yeah,
in a
man.
box of rocks.
So there's there's something to it. There's a circuit, and we are part of that circuit when we're born. And to short circuit us, they can chop off the top of our dicks, and that's going to set us back a few
Yeah,
notches.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
constantly looking to complete that circuit. Like we're looking for ground too. And then I guess part of it is you do wind up in the fucking ground.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
we're not because we're not completing the circuit because we're not walking around barefoot as nearly as much as
oh,
we
and there,
should
yeah,
be.
there
And I like
thing.
getting back to the Chinese medicine and like the nerve endings on your feet, like
Yeah,
the most amount of nerve endings on the bottom of your feet.
yeah,
Uh, and that was another thing I was going to suggest is if you did any detoxes through your feet,
sure.
like like the bionic foot bath cleanses. They pull like all the toxins and like metals and stuff out of your
Yeah,
whatever's in.
yeah. Whatever's in you will come out through your feet with warm or hot water. Epsom salts is good to get magnesium out of you and draw other things out of you. And then bentonite clay. That's
Yeah,
that's some
yeah, that.
magnificent shit. Uh,
Yeah, that stuff clears you out. Drink,
you
drink the
still
cup.
there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying I used to drink the bentonite clay as well.
Yeah, man, that's great
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
that's very good.
and all these things you have to kind of figure out on your own, and you're in
But,
real no real danger of hurting yourself unless you become dogmatic about it and you're going in the wrong direction. Like
yeah.
bentonite clay, if you don't drink enough water, can fuck up your digestive system. Uh,
Right, yeah, you'll get fucked up if you think if you do anything in excess, you're gonna fucking have adverse effect. You know, like everything reaches a point of I guess everything everything's solubility can be exceeded.
you
If you're
know,
still there.
sure. But a lot of people, generally, if you can understand the subtle conversation you're having with yourself, you can generally understand
Yeah,
how to navigate it. That's
right.
not just with your body physically and what you eat and put into it and shit out of it, but like we were saying with the art or playing with language and numbers, there's a lot to be gleaned from
Yeah,
spending time with yourself.
yeah.
It's like take yourself on a date, see if you can score.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Self combustion.
Oh, there you go, self combustion. Maybe that's what happened to old Charlie.
Yeah,
He completed
he's
the
trying,
circuit.
he's trying to suck his own dick. He fucking did it.
there,
He did it.
there's
That's what happened.
and and there's your
Oh, I got the tip of my arm. Touch the tip. Completed the circuit. And then you just fucking combust.
Oh my god. I
Yeah.
wonder how far that is from the truth.
Probably not too far.
Oh, ladies
But,
and gentlemen.
and then like the nerve endings in the feet, like versus the nerve endings at the tip of your foreskin before the top of your
Sure.
skaboid, and
It
then
all it all makes sense to me.
also like the nerve endings on being like the roots of the tree, so like you want to be grounded and you want to have all those nerve endings in contact with the ground, and then your
Yeah.
hair is the other end of that circuit, so you're pulling it in from the ether or the air, and it's going through you back into the ground.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? Even though it's been interrupted in so many ways, it it still does it. It still does it on its own. Even though
Yeah,
I wear sneakers for the majority of the day. You know, the ground that I walk on is mostly made out of concrete or some artificial polyester
yeah.
blend. But this motherfucker keeps on ticking, and so
Well,
there's something to that. So
yeah.
I would
And that's
uh,
I think next time we should get into the people like that live in the inner earth, or like
oh,
the
all right.
underground people, underground people type of stuff, more
I'll
people.
I'll ride shotgun on that one.
Oh, I don't,
You have
I'm
to
not
drive. You
not
have
an
to drive that.
authoritative. But,
No, but I think Mumbles ought to drive.
yeah, I have a list of at least 10 entrances to inner earth.
See, you're way ahead of me. I'm gonna have to do my homework. But first, snakes on a motherfucking plane. Ladies and gentlemen, probably no ladies, but several gentlemen out there, you
Yeah,
have now witnessed another Breaking Wind dialogue show.
choppy at best.
And horrible
Like
at
that centipede,
worst.
like that centipede moving across your screen.
Maybe I'll fix that typo on the Breaking Wind
Yeah,
thumbnail.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, this one might not get uploaded till tomorrow. By the time it all,
Oh, for Christ's sake! Now that's
yeah.
unacceptable.
I mean, I got to be up. I got to be up at like, well, I'm always up at like 4. So
Hey, man! Don't let it get to you.
no, well, that's only if I have to look at the clock. I mean, usually I just get up when I get up and
I hear you. You've
whatever.
been you've been training that machine for a long time.
Yeah, it sucks.
No, it's great for me. I love watching it all
Mm,
unfold.
mm,
Please everyone out there visit Mumbles YouTube channel. First one off YouTube, no more computers. All lowercase,
yeah,
no underscores. Type every fucking word out perfectly or you can't find it.
yeah. You
And
have to go to your search settings and tailor your search results to channels only.
and and don't
Type the entire name in.
and don't forget to bring your shovel so you can find the Breaking Wind episodes located somewhere.
Buried in shit, fart.
Ah, well,
Mm.
I bid you adieu, kind sir.